Hello everyone, Angel here, and today we're doing the final mission of Battle 7 for our Let's Play with developer commentary of TFTC Reimagined. And today we're going to try and save the Emperor from certain death. Or at least, try. I'm going to let the briefing play out first, and then we'll dive into my thoughts on this mission.
We have managed to receive a partial distress signal from Coruscant, and our worst fears are confirmed. Admiral Zaarin has launched an attack against the seat of Imperial power itself, and is attempting to kill the Emperor aboard his flagship, the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer Majestic. From what we can gather, before launching his coup attempt, Zaarin managed to disperse much of Coruscant's local forces, so he would face minimal opposition when his fleet arrived. What few defending ships remain are desperately trying to hold the line against his forces as we speak. Lord Vader has contacted the Super Star Destroyer Executor and directed it to Coruscant with all haste, but they may not arrive in time. With the Imperial Star Destroyer Devastator crippled from Zaarin's attempts to trap and kill Lord Vader, our only option is to use our remaining 3 operational TIE Defenders and Lord Vader's own modified TIE Advanced Starfighter to make the jump to Coruscant. It's not much, but it's all we have. You will fly the TIE Defender Alpha 1, though Lord Vader will of course be in charge of your squadron. Follow his orders precisely. There is absolutely no margin for error here. You must do your utmost to ensure the safety of the Emperor and hold off Zaarin's forces until the Executor arrives. The fate of the Empire may very well rest in your hands. Good luck.
It seems Zaarin's treachery is far more ambitious than any of the petty motivations of the late Admiral Harkov. His intentions to remove the Emperor from power prove his ambition is nothing short of becoming the new leader of the Empire. Everything now rests upon your actions today. Do not fail the Emperor in his ultimate time of need.
So, okay. I always had a problem with this mission from a story point of view in which is Mission 5 in Classic Campaign. You basically you fly off to rescue the Emperor from the Majestic. When you arrive, you have half a dozen escort shuttles, I believe, which are heading to the Star Destroyer Glory, where Zaarin awaits in the distance. And you have to inspect these escort shuttles to find the Emperor, because he's been captured by a strike team. Already I have a problem with that. Now, I know there is some lore here which suggests that there was a Sith strike team, so Force users presumably, went and neutralized Palpy and captured him.
With Lord Vader to
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. It's freaking Palpatine. Now, I know he's, master of 5D chess and all, and has allowed himself to be captured before, but there was nothing in the story to ever indicate that this was in Palpatine's plan to allow himself to be captured. I mean, if he knew that Zaarin was going to betray him, he probably would have sorted that out before the events that happened and subsequently. So, yeah, I never bought that. Palpatine would never have let that happen. He's far too powerful. So I kind of pretty much ejected that. Second, this was a mission that I really wanted to take advantage of the ship numbers. This will show the largest single fleet battle in the entire Reimagined campaign to date. Although we're not a direct participatory of the fleet battle itself, that battle is kind of happening in the distance for the most part. Our focus will be on defending the Majestic and the surrounding area there. It's only just towards the end of the battle that you kind of tangle with that main fleet. But here we go. This is the fleet. And I just wanted, when you came out of hyperspace, you see the low orbital Coruscant, which is a texture provided by the lovely chaps at the Empire at War remake, I want to say. I can't remember which Empire at War mod it is. Sorry guys, off the top of my head. But yeah, one of the chaps there provided us with the Coruscant texture there, which we sort of integrated into the mod. But anyway, yeah, you see that fleet in the distance. There's 20 to 30 capital ships of various sizes there fighting against each other, and dozens of fighters as well. So it's a big furball over there, but you don't need to worry about that too much. It's just there for spectacle and kind of a cool visual. So now our main focus here is the Majestic. The Emperor is on the Majestic. He's not been captured. Going back to the whole story thing, it just made a lot more sense to me that Zaarin would just simply try to kill Palpatine. I mean, let's assume for the sake of argument that he did capture Palpatine. You know, neutralised his powers, or neutralised him somehow, but still captured him alive. That's incredibly dangerous and stupid to keep him alive. It's freaking Palpatine. You know? He'll find a way to get around that, or escape, or do something. So it just seemed incredibly stupid for Zaarin to actually keep him alive, but I don't even know why you'd keep him alive. You want to decapitate him, remove him from power, so you take control. And obviously this is an attempt to kill Vader as well. So you remove Palpatine and Vader, the top structure of the Empire is gone, you take over, job done. So yeah, instead, it's a case that we've got a much larger fleet here, and Zaarin's own sort of internal knowledge of the Empire, and has managed to disable the Coruscant defense grids, dispersed its fleet, and basically put the Emperor in a dangerous position, and he's trying to kill him. It's just straight out kill him, and I think that just makes a lot more sense. We notice here that you spend about 2 or 3 minutes just sort of desperately defending the Majestic, and then we get a brief reprieve in the form of Thrawn in the Stalwart and the Ludwig. This is the return of the frigate Ludwig, which we saw in Battle 3. Again, tying into a larger continuity between the ships that we see as we progress through the campaign. And also at this point, in the classic campaign, Thrawn arrived in a Star Destroyer called the Vanguard, and then in Battle 8 he's in a Victory Star Destroyer called the Skeletor, or Seltor. Again, that was another thing that just... Why? Why did he go from that to a Star Destroyer then back to a VSD? So I wanted to maintain the fact that we're in the Stalwart, and that will continue into Battle 8 and in the future Reimagined as well. The Stalwart, I think, will become like one of the most recognisable ship names in all of Reimagined, because we'll see it a lot. And you can see that this is the only time this ship shows up in Reimagined. It's the VT-49 Decimator. It's a gunship of sort. Again, I think that's from Star Wars Galaxies. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there just because. So unfortunately there's no damage model for the Star Destroyer, not the current model of it. So all I can really do is kind of put that Star Destroyer at a listing angle to make it look like it's disabled or otherwise damaged in some way. Hopefully in the future, when Vince T does the new models, which are coming along quite nicely, we can have a damage model there to sell the fact that the Star Destroyer is heavily damaged or disabled. The main fail point of this mission is the Majestic. You have to be on the game, on your ball, whatever the term is, to defend the Majestic quickly against the numerous TIE Advances that are shooting at it. Once you've dealt with that, it's just a case of sort of holding the line, and you're going to deal with a lot of enemy TIE Advance shooting at you, lots of missiles. So it's a heavy combat mission. Once the Imperial fleet arrives, it's possible to lose the Emperor's assault transport, which comes and docks with the Stalwart before the Stalwart jumps away. But that's not likely to happen. Certainly not in the easier difficulties. So you can see here we're getting closer to the main battle. This battle does get closer and closer to us, much like in Battle 7 Mission 1, where the enemy fleet was getting closer and closer and closer to kind of imply the pressure. The same thing's happening here. You know, in this case we've got a couple of defending destroyers sort of holding the line, but once those two destroyers are gone, all you're left with is this imposing fleet of Star Destroyers and support ships coming down upon you. Certainly nothing that the Stalwart and the Ludwig on their own can defend against. Another side note, you see here the Stalwart is also kind of at this downward angle. I wanted to kind of have this idea that Stalwart would come in and use its mass to intercept a torpedo attack. It's a tactic done in Star Wars Clone Wars. One of the Venator destroyers, there's a name for this particular maneuver, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but the Venator uses the bulk of its mass to take the incoming fire whilst it launches fighters on the other side, basically giving its fighters cover. So, similar strategy here. However, it didn't quite go to plan. First off, it took ages to actually get the stalwart to sit in this kind of downward angle position. It took a lot of attempts to sort of back and forth of testing. Finally got it to sort of sit where I wanted it to. And then, you know, time it just right so these torpedoes from some TIE Advance would come in and be intercepted. However, what I found is that although the TIE Advance were targeting the Majestic, the torpedoes would clip through the model of the Stalwart and go straight through and hit the Majestic. So it seems that basically, if a ship has an order to attack another ship, or a starship certainly, its weapons will not impact anything in the way. It's like turning on no clip until it hits the actual ship, its target itself, which is annoying, you know. So the only way I could get around that was basically tell these TIE Advance to target the Stalwart, and then just kind of in-game, in flight and the in-flight messages, just kind of sell that, yeah, they were going for the Majestic, but they ended up hitting the Stalwart. But yeah, I thought it was a nice little dramatic way of showing that Thrawn was saving the day, or trying to anyway. There we go, we have the Imperial fleet. This is the first appearance of the Super Star Destroyer, or the Star Dreadnought, in TIE Fighter. It would never obviously appeared in the original TIE Fighter because, you know, it's a rather big ship. Practically speaking, the Super Star Destroyer is very difficult gameplay-wise to really deal with, because it's so big. And there's a limitation on how many weapon emplacements a ship can have. It's not as lethal as it really should be. It's just a giant mass of hit points, and there are various other issues. You know, the AI can easily ram into it because of its size. The aforementioned clipping issue can happen as well. Ships will just clip through it sometimes, and weapons will clip through it. It's a pain. So, although I do intend to have the Executor in subsequent reimagined missions, it won't really be participating in any close-range combat, so to speak. It's just more of a presence on the battlefield, if you will. And I think that's fine to do it that way. I guess this was also a mission where I did an impression of Tom Kane. I think it's Tom Kane. He does the voice for, he does a lot of voices, but you may recognise it most as Zaarin, Admiral Zaarin, or the guy who does the opening voiceover for Clone Wars. I tried to basically do an imitation of that voice, not to say that this was Zaarin or anything like that, but I found that I could actually do a pretty decent impression of him. At least I thought so, in my opinion. So I use that voice, and I use it again in Battle 8 just once more. But I think I did a good job there, if I do say so myself. So yeah, at this point, it's just clean-up duty. I mean, once the Imperial fleet arrives, Zaarin's fleet turns tail and run. Zaarin's fleet does lose several support ships in this, smaller ships. It's generally not possible to destroy any of the larger ships in time, and I have removed the ability to have heavy ordnance in this mission so you can easily take down those ships. It's not the intention of this mission that you can take down any of the destroyers. Obviously you can make yourself invincible and do that in the simulator if you want, but in the main mission this is not the case.
I have plans for you.
He has plans for me. And there goes the Stalwart, possibly hyperspacing directly into that moon. Might need to adjust that position there.
You have rescued the Emperor and saved the Empire.
Very impressive, Alpha One. You have helped save the Empire. I will be watching your career with great interest.
Dock with the modified frigate Ludwig, Alpha One.
Now, it'd be cool if you could dock with the Superstar Destroyer as well, but I can only assign 2 motherships, and decided that the Ludwig was the better choice for having the player dock. The player can really go up and see the Superstar Destroyer if it wants to, or the remaining of Death Fleet. The Death Fleet. I'm terrible with remembering names sometimes, I apologise.
We are here to honor one who has served the Empire.
You're welcome, Palby. Very short cutscene. I kind of wish they'd done more with this one, other than just a warning you, just a glorified medal sequence.
You have rescued the Emperor and helped save the Empire. Vice Admiral Thrawn's timely arrival made a crucial difference in this battle, putting himself and his ship in harm's way to defend the Emperor. With the arrival of the Superstar Destroyer Executor and her escort fleet, the traitorous Zaarin quickly fled the scene. We can only guess at what provoked Zaarin to attempt his coup d'etat, but it's clear that this may be just the beginning, as we learn the scale of his treachery. Vice Admiral Thrawn is already making efforts to try and track Zaarin down, and has personally requested your reassignment to his command. Your efforts and accomplishments in these past battles have been extremely impressive. You have clearly proven yourself to be one of the greatest starfighter pilots in the Imperial Navy.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, this is the conclusion. Well, I say conclusion. At least this is the end of the main campaign of the original TIE Fighter, and
This is far from over.
from here on out it's the expanded expansion packs, Defenders of the Empire and Enemies of the Empire. I'll get to why I only did Battle 8 originally. It mostly just by chance, but I'll speak to about that in Battle 8 when I get to it. Yeah, I thought this was a much better way to end Battle 7 with a massive climactic battle, something that was a lot more appropriate, I think, for the end of this part of the campaign. So I don't think there was any emails. Actually, no, sorry. He's just being transferred. Okay, well, yeah, so for much of the Reimagined, we're going to be under Thrawn's command. It's just one battle where we're not, but yeah, from pretty much here on out, we're under Thrawn's direct command, which is good for us. But that's it for Battle 7. Shortest battle in the whole of Reimagined, but there's only 3 missions, but they are big missions, so I think that makes up for it. So next we'll move on to Battle 8, the current battle of Reimagined, and until next time, good hunting.